All right, 3 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us for another session of CARVART's bi-weekly updates. We've got a pretty exciting program today. So,
hello.
What we're going to do is we're going to start out with some quick updates from Martil. Melinda from KMA is going to talk about a project she's been involved with in Louisville area. We're going to try some pure technical tips and tools just quickly from me. Sharon's got some things to report on material bank and going there. And Michael is going to launch a new program that you're going to be quite excited with it. Martil? Everybody could,
John, can you mute everybody?
Speaking. Martil, are you with us? So basically, in terms of, she's not here yet, but she has been putting out all kinds of information in eBlast as well as promo packages for rep firm, for promotional firm. And there have been, Martil?
Yes, hi, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Okay, you want to just jump in?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the first bit of news is just that we're submitting 4 product categories or 4 products for the Interior Design Best of Year Awards. This is very exciting. And as you can see here, we were doing the CARVART by Gustav, which gets us kind of in the wood category. Then we're also doing our glass stack wall motion for glass. And obviously the highlight of that is the acoustical rating and the various features. And then we have our new glass railing flush that we're submitting, as well as the auto door. We're kind of packaging the auto door intertwined with the modular bath story, with auto door as the focus. So the finals will be announced November 6th. So we will obviously touch on this in the next few months, and then the winner will be announced after that. So just wanted you guys to be aware. Okay. So this is exciting, and Michael's going to cover this a bit later in the presentation. And this is a joint venture between CARVART and it's called CARVART Powered by Halio. And what this is it is CARVART's wall systems and screens that is combined with Halio smart tinting technology. And we're going to be sending out a press release submitted today, as well as a product sheet will be uploaded to the website. We also have a video that we're completing that should be finished today that we will release, as well as social media posts. So you'll see some things to follow, and we'll be sure to send you that information. And so one of the things that I wanted to point out, so this is Halio technology is a kind of a light management system, so a tinting management system that Michael will get into a little bit more. But just from a high level conversation of about how this partnership it needs to be, I guess, staged. So Halio is owned by a company called Kestrel Technologies, and the product is itself the smart tinting from Halio. And go to the next slide. I just want to show you, have you look at some of the guidelines that we have to follow that are very important. When we're using the Halio name, which is whether it's CARVART Powered by Halio, or we can say things like Halio Smart Tinting Glass, it has to have the trademark registered on it. However, it only has to be used once in whatever document you're using. So for instance, let's just say you have a document, you have a main header with the logo. So it would have the registered trademark there. And then when you get into the copy of whatever it is, whether it's a social post, document, a spec document, or a video, whatever, it just needs to have the trademark one time when listing the technology as well. And then you're good to go. But this is another critical part, is that from a legal perspective, on each of these pieces, it does have to be listed once, and it needs to say something like Halio is registered trademark of Kestrel Technology and is used here with permission. So the bottom line is we have to have that statement to say that we have permission to use their registered trademark, and it can be very tiny. I don't know what happened to that little font. That's some weird. It might have been.
That's italics. Sorry.
Yeah, no, well, I don't know. Yeah, but bottom line is what I was saying there is that it can be in very small font and it can be anywhere. Let's just say you have it on your website or a post. It just needs to be labeled once within each context of how you're showing the product. So whether it's a product sheet, something on your website, social post, that always has to be on there, but it can be very, very small. And then the other thing that they just ask is never say the word Halio in all caps. It is always just the way you see it with just the first letter capitalized. And that's it. I mean, there's some other subtleties, but big picture, that's all you guys have to worry about. And if you come up with a certain situation and you have questions, you can certainly reach out to myself or Kelsey, and we're happy to help you work on any documentation. Okay?
That's great. Thanks. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Great. Actually, this will make a lot more sense after you hear Michael's presentation.
John, I just wanted to, hi guys, it's Edward. Just want to take this opportunity to also, since we're talking about marketing, just to introduce 2 new team members. So we're first of all excited to welcome 2 new team members, especially in these times, and just, you know, company is growing and moving forward. So we have with us, I'm not sure if they're on the call, I'm assuming they are. We have Kelsey, who's our new a marketing manager. And we also have Flynn, who's basically our kind of a technical marketing manager. So, you know, they both has joined our team, and we're very excited about it. And there's a lot of exciting, you know, in addition to the big project that, you know, Martil is heading, and going to be working together with them, as you've heard, you know, a complete revamp of our website, which we're very excited about. That's coming in a few months probably. But you know, we currently, with this new team, and Martil and Michael are going to be doing a lot more than we have been already doing, but there's going to be a lot more content, a lot more engagement, a lot more leads, both, you know, organic and paid. So there's going to be a lot of exciting things. So you will get to know Kelsey, and, you know, if you will need things, you'll once you get to know her, you'll be able to come directly to her for any content or any needs. Welcome, guys.
Perfect. So as is our bi-weekly tradition, we have a you know, best practices report from one of the rep firms, and Melinda Lewis was good enough to you know, offer up a story for us about a project she's been working on in Louisville, Kentucky area. Melinda?
Hey, thanks, John. So I'm working on this project actually with my coworker in Kentucky, Lori Gibson. She actually lives in Louisville. One of my dealerships in Cincinnati recently opened up an office in Louisville. We also have an office in Cleveland where our owner lives. And they're working with the Louisville Urban League to create a sports and learning complex in the West End part of Louisville. And this is a really underserved area. And right now, this is the biggest project happening in the state of Kentucky. So RCF Group came to me looking to see if we could do a movable wall in the front entrance of this building. And this is to open up this room so it can be rented out and become a multi-purpose room rather than just doing storefront glass. We decided to offer CARVART. We got great pricing. We wanted to work with them on huge discounts, seeing whatever we could offer them, since this is a nonprofit and it's such a great company to be working with. So they were really excited to see glass stack wall. They love that it opens up the option for the whole room to open up with the wall stacking flat against the receiving wall. So the owner was really excited. RCF Group is really excited. They've been wanting to get in some CARVART installations and get this started. The importance of this space, especially in Louisville right now with the Louisville Urban League, we all know what's happening down there in just the past few months. So this is a really big, strong presence in the city, and it's going to help serve underserved areas with athletes. Currently, a lot of young athletes are running track in hallways of their school, rather than on an actual track and field. So this is a multi-use space where it's going to have a track for students to use. And it will also, when it's not being used as that, it will be a concert space. That lobby where we're going to put glass stack walls actually has a bowling alley and a climbing wall back there as well. And it's open 24/7. So anyone in that community can go in that building anytime. There's going to be a convenience store and they can use that and just utilize that space for themselves in that community. And the great thing for Lori is she can bring clients there whenever she wants. And even if any designers in Louisville, Lexington, Cincinnati, where I am, which is only an hour and a half from Louisville, any of my designers can go down there and check that out whenever they want. So this is a really great sports complex, learning complex. It's just going to be a really great thing for the city of Louisville.
So one of the things that I showed at the beginning of the sequence was the contents of a typical CARVART quote. And can you just talk a little bit to the transformation from this little sketch to what we actually proposed? And what was that like in terms of your involvement with design and pre-construction at CARVART?
Really, the designer at RCF Group just came to me and said, we are wanting to utilize a wall that can be pulled back and to totally open up the space so it can be used for whatever the needs are within that area or that community, whether it be for parties or a major event. So we started brainstorming of what we could do with CARVART and decided that by whatever we could do, we went to the design team at CARVART and asked for any special discounting or pricing. Since this is a nonprofit and it is a really visible project, we wanted to see what we could do to help out. And it ended up coming in at a fairly decent price. I know we're not taking any commission on that, and that's okay, because we're getting into the city and this is something we can show all of our designers in multiple cities. So yeah, it worked out really well, and the pricing of this wasn't a hindrance versus the retail glass that was originally specified. And the owner loves the idea of being able to pull all the glass back to be able to utilize the space to its maximum potential.
Terrific, good. Anybody have questions for Melinda? Okay, thanks so much, Melinda. Well done. So one of the sessions that we do every other week is to have some sort of technology discussion, and this will be really short, but there's a couple of things that come to my mind as I wake up every morning and find 90 new emails on my, so I wanted to just touch on a couple of things. You know, first of all, when one sends a email, and you're scanning down that whole list, it would be really useful if the subject line that you saw really told as much of the story as you could in a few words, you know. So within the CARVART world, putting in the job number or the job name is critical, as opposed to that job with the sliding doors or something like that, you know. So so there were a couple of things that I do just before I pull the trigger on any email, whether it's a new email or a reply, and that is to really examine what that subject line is. The next thing, which can be really critical, is to take a look at who you're sending it to. So a lot of times we'll get in an email that has the client, the rep, the other people within CARVART, et cetera, and you're hitting reply and not paying attention to the fact that, oh, wait a minute, the owner is on this response. So, taking care to make sure that that it is going to whoever you want it to go to, and only to whoever you want it to go to. And then, the other related thing there is to watch out about, reply all. We've had a couple of incidences where we've sent out emails to every rep, and then for 3 or 4 days later, we get back somebody hitting reply all, and therefore all 50 of us get the same email response, etc. So So looking over those things before you pull that trigger can be rather critical in terms of getting the right result that you want, as well as saving a bunch of us some time and energy. The other thing I would encourage everyone to do is to make sure that you have an auto signature with your phone and your email on it. A lot of people have an auto signature just for new emails, but not necessarily for replies. So I find myself, having an email from somebody and scrambling around to find their phone number. It should be just an automatic thing at the bottom of every single email. The other territory I wanted to just touch on in terms of transferring documents is that there are a number of options. Sorry?
John, on that last slide, for Gmail users, there's a couple of things you might want to be careful of.
Okay.
So if you're changing the subject line of a reply, that email that you're sending won't be attached to the previous email. So if you use conversations and you do that, you'll have separate emails for every email you send out, versus having them all clumped together. And then I don't know.
That's really good. No, that's really good. And I agree with you. That Outlook does the same thing of grouping emails by the same name. So if it is the same topic, changing the subject, absolutely is not necessary.
Right. And then some email systems don't really have an option for putting a signature on a reply. Some of them automatically format out the signature. So just
right. Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah. So and different, as you say, Google Docs or Google system and Outlook and Mail on Apple, all of them have slightly different rule sets and tool sets.
John, also just you can I think you pointed out on the screen, but I don't think you covered it. BCC, CC versus BCC, guys. So please, if you I get so many emails because of that. People just tend to reply all, and John mentioned obviously paying attention to who you're replying to, but also removing people that don't need to stay on the emails, right? So I think just out of that respect, so if you want to respond just so people see that you're responding, you can move them to BCC, and that's what this is on the screen. So it's a blind copy, so they'll get that one email, but they will not be copied on any further replies between you and the rest of the team. So I think it's important to respect other people's inbox and time, and when not necessarily to keep others, just move them to BCC or remove them completely.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think we all have sort of a discipline here, and sharing it I think can be helpful. The other territory has to do with links and hyperlinks, so and attachments. So that we do a lot is we send information to to recipients of an email. And there's a couple of ways of doing it. One of the ways of doing it is to take a file, whether it's PowerPoint or PDF or whatever, and attaching it, right? So you can see here, I went onto our website and I downloaded the PDF file of our brand book, and it's 31.8 megabytes. It's a massive file. Now, most systems will just reject sending that, so that's not so much of an issue. But if you're sending this to 10, 20, if I sent this to everybody on this call, it would be repeated in the hard drives of 50 people, right? So you're creating a massive amount of data transfer, right? So as well as taking up that space in somebody else's inbox. So the alternate to doing that is by, and there's a lot of alternates. One of them would be to send a data exchange kind of thing. But a simpler one is to go to this, to the PDF or, the document that you have on some sort of public space like our website, right? And then copy the URL so that instead of sending a 32 megabyte file, that you're basically sending a very tiny email, so now with that URL copied into this, where I say, please go to see our brand book, you now see that this whole file is less than a megabyte, So that's one way to go. The other way to go, though, is to create a hyperlink. And what happens with hyperlink is it hides that ugly address that's there. that long string of, of content. And sometimes that's just a nonsense string of numbers. Here it at least says CARVART brand book SCN, right? But what you can do is copy that. And, it depends on what system you're using, whether you're using a Mac or, or a Microsoft-based product. But basically, you select any text, and in this case, the URL. You right-click on that text, and you choose hyperlink, and then insert that hyperlink in, and now the word brand book becomes your link. So that's, that's a way of using a hyperlink to save space and make it look a little prettier. You can also do that with digital images as well. You can create the digital image of the brand book or the the wall system we were just looking at, or the cubicles, etc., and make that itself a hyperlink. So you're still presenting forward something that is an attractor to have somebody be more interested in it, and still saving that huge amount of data space that you were doing by loading the file. All right, just a couple of tools. That's in great. Terms of internet. Anybody have questions here or additions? Okay.
Very useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that is useful.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to go through these things in detail, please, typically in all organizations, there are the geeks that know this stuff, and reach out to each other, and that's the way we learn as a group. But you're invited to contact, you can certainly contact me or any of the people you work with at CARVART. We deal with these things every day. So, looking forward to other things you guys want to share. So if you have something you want to talk about in these time slots, please, suggest them or ask for them. Sharon, your turn.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Hi.
Okay, great. So Material Bank, we had a little dip the past few weeks, which I think was to be expected with Labor Day and kids going back to school. I feel like a lot of people were on holiday. So this is probably one of our lowest weeks. We had 162 samples from 63 different designers. And next slide. Okay. I haven't worked with everybody, so this is an example of a project that Jess from A Metro sent to me. So it's really great to get renderings or inspiration. And I just wanted to show you, like, for those that haven't gone through the glass development process. So I got this from Jessica. They're looking for a gradient, but they wanted privacy. And they selected a color, and this is the sample that we're sending them for the first round. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys when we're creating a custom sample. So that's pretty much it for this week.
So Sharon, can you just explore a little further for us exactly what we're looking at here? What's making all this sense?
Okay, yeah, good. Good point. Okay, so they are looking, so these doors on the right, they are going to be to the bathroom in the patient's room. And so they wanted something translucent, but obviously that gives privacy. So what we did is doing a gradient etch, not an etch, excuse me, a gradient digital print on our T1 glass, which is the acid etched glass. That's what we're looking at. And they selected the color was a Benjamin Moore, and we sent them a couple different options. And this actually just happened today. So we'll see what we get from the feedback, and if we have to tweak the color, if they liked it. We also did a transparent option for the actual patient door, to the door to the room. So
the gradient, the transition is in the blue color here, right?
Yep, the gradient is one color. It's very difficult to do a few different colors, especially when they're completely different and not in the same color family. So yes, this is just one color on the T1 glass, which is the satin etch translucent
Right,
glass.
yeah.
So if the light is on in the bathroom, the door will glow. You will see the light.
Sharon,
But
for
you
your
have
Sharon, this is great. Just so you know, I'm not sure if you remember, but we did a project a while back, maybe many years ago. This was for St. Louis Hospital, and we actually did something very similar, not in terms of the gradient, but it was also bathrooms, about 80 patient rooms, and there were bathroom doors that had, one of the doors actually was a door into a closet, and the other door was into the bathroom, and they were kind of a biparting. And it also had a patient chart actually built into the graphics. It was custom graphics. So I wonder if we have any pictures, maybe, or they would definitely have shop drawings, but it would be good, I think, to give the client for reference.
So this is the territory where CARVART really shines. You know, there's so many things going on here, both with the sliding door. There is actually no door on the left-hand side. That's across the face of a wall. We discovered, you know, talking to the architect. So the aluminum framing, the door, you know, sliding into the ceiling, the gradient, the etched glass, etc. All of that, you know, from one hand and organized with drawings and samples, etc. It's a territory that we do very well in. You know, when all of those parts and pieces are demanded from the same project. Anybody else? Questions? Thanks, Sharon.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
So, Michael, you've got the really exciting news for the day.
Always nice to finish up with exciting news. So, yeah, I guess finally CARVART is coming out with some switchable glass. I think we've had a lot of requests for this historically, and our response has always been we like to be low tech because it doesn't fail. And you know, we're at a point where we're confident enough with the technology, and it's of a quality of transparency and opacity that we're actually happy with. We'll show a couple of examples of, you know, our competitor distortion and, you know, the way that others glass transitions, which is kind of, you know, not as high quality, and you see a lot of waviness and it's not truly transparent. So that's why we're finally here. It's taken some time. We've worked with our partners pretty closely to get to a point where we have two products. One is called Glass Tint, and that was with our partner Kinestral, who, you know, is using the Halio technology and that's on the left side, which actually, you know, started out as exterior glass, which we're gonna start to get into in the coming months and kind of experiment with meshes and colors and really dive into different types of alternatives with IGU and exterior glass. But what we're primarily focused on now is the interior launch. And like Martial said, we sent out a press release today to kind of officially kick this off. There's two products within the Glass Tint category. One is Glass Tint itself, and one is Glass Tint Plus. And Glass Tint is opaque up to 98%, so pretty dark. And then there's actually an extra 1.9% that gets Glass Tint Plus up to 99.9%. So essentially opaque. Glass Click is the white, you know, lighter colored version. The two biggest differences beyond the color between these two is that Click transitions instantly, and the Halio, CARVART powered by Halio version of Glass Tint takes about 3 minutes. So if you go to the next slide, we'll start to get into the types of control and activation. You know, Glass Tint focuses on sensor-based and automatic responses, so that's why it's a little bit slower. Glass Click is, and this all has to do with the technology inside. So Glass Tint is actually electrified magnetic particles, and Glass Click are liquid crystals, so they respond much faster. Glass Tint, as far as its transition, is an even kind of gradient, and you can stop it anywhere up until 98%. Glass Tint Plus, the same, but 99.9%. Glass Click is either totally opaque or transparent. There's no kind of in-between gradient. As far as controls, they're relatively similar in that, you know, they can all be hooked up to schedulers or room schedulers and timed. They both have the capability of syncing with Amazon Echo and Alexa. The mobile app is available is for both, and there's an installer version of the mobile app for testing and then an end user. And all of the programming happens and kind of comes with the installation and the technicians. So a lot of it's customizable. And then there's also obviously just user or manual operated where you can click a switch. The sizes for glass tint are pretty typical with CARVART's standard panel sizes, about 60 inches by 120, slightly smaller. And then glass click is also 59 inches wide, and it goes up until 98.5 inches. So a little bit more limited on the height, making it a challenge for office fronts at the moment, but we're working diligently to get that up to the 120. In the meantime, there's ways to work with transoms and a lot of ways around that. So don't feel immediately limited by the 98-inch max height. Clarity and opacity, we kind of touched on this quickly. Both versions of the product really tout full transparency. Click is 97%. So if you really get up there, you can start to see it, but from a distance and in an office setting, you really can't tell that it's not fully transparent. But it's marketed and is essentially transparent, similar with glass tint. I think it's also 97% transparent in the inverse for opacity.
Michael, if you don't mind, just want to add on that. So I think it's very important to understand. There's obviously been products out there in the market that they're similar to glass click, where they turn from clear to white. But what's important to understand is this is a completely different technology than anything else is on the market, and we're obviously going to be pushing that point. But it's important for you to understand this. So this technology has been about 6 years in the making, and millions and millions of dollars invested into this technology. So this is actually, as Michael mentioned, it's a liquid crystal technology, and that's what enables it to be really transparent. So if any of you ever seen privacy glass, you'll know that it has a very milky, kind of a murky feel to it when it's in its transparent mode, supposedly, but it's really never truly transparent. This product is really, really transparent compared to the other if you put it side by side. And we'll have different tools in the marketing to show that, and we'll talk about that, but it's important for you guys to understand this. And while Michael mentioned it is currently limited, right now it's at 98. A new factory is being built to produce this product, and we'll be able to handle much larger sizes and definitely up to 10 feet. That will be next year. That will be available sometime next year.
And what's gonna go ahead,
Michael? I have a question for you. On the click glass, I know, and I think I heard you say it goes from clear to completely opaque. On off, instantly. On tint, are we saying that you can go halfway, or that it's adjustable in terms of how much opacity?
Yeah, that's correct. So there's 4 major kind of standard levels of opacity. I think it's 10, 25, 60, and then the 98. I can confirm that. But those are standard, and then you are able to program kind of unlimited levels of tint all the way up to 98%.
So one of the standard uses of this product is on the outside of a building, and to program it in relationship to how much sun is shining on the building, to help with the heat transfers, et cetera, that come with too much light, et cetera. So this is a really versatile product, that and it has digital controls that are programmable, either presets, so at a certain time it goes on and off, like your lights might, but also to respond to how much light is hitting the building if it's an exterior use.
Yeah, and there are sensors available, so they can tie into forecasting, which might or might not be accurate, and then you can also attach it to a sensor on the exterior of the building, which is, it responds within 15 seconds, and then the transition actually takes a little bit under 3 minutes to catch up and fully transition. So yeah, and like Edward says, and John as well, the unique features of this obviously is the transparency and all the kind of effort we've done. in the research and technology development, but also in the fashion, the decorative components, the inner layers, starting to combine these with metallic meshes and IGUs for the exterior. We're trying to push this now on the interior because the CARVART powered by Halio has traditionally been only exterior. So it's exciting that we can finally offer both versions, in office fronts and in an interior setting, and similar for glassSWITCH. So beating this chart to death. Yeah.
This is Gaynor. When we talk about conference rooms, with I rep Mecho Shade, and we have a lot of instances where they want privacy. A conference room is right off of a lobby, or maybe there's a corridor, and they're using Mecho Shades in motorized shades as more of a privacy on the interior windows. Obviously, this is a great option to offer. Now, Mecho Shades always interface with an AV system in a room. So does this product, is it able to be interfaced with Crestron system or one of those AV systems?
I don't know specifically about those systems. I know that it's extremely.
The answer is yes. Again, the answer is yes. It's very flexible in terms of what it can interface with. So I think if you want to send us a couple examples of specific systems that you're seeing, more used on the market, but Halio definitely is the alternative to the shades, and that's really what it's supposed to do. Is supposed to eliminate shades on the building for exterior. That's what it was really. Sorry.
And the click system can absolutely be interfaced with virtually any control system. It can either operate on a dry contact or it can operate on a live contact, to transfer power. It is basically power on, power off.
And another important point, guys, I just want to mention that both products are UL listed, which is not, by the way, the case with many competitor products, specifically with the privacy glass. Also, it uses the glass click. Actually, only uses a speaker wire. Actually, you don't even need an electrician to wire it. So it's not just low voltage, but it's actually using speaker wire. So that's also a very, very important selling.
What's the warranty? What kind of warranty are we offering?
Michael, do you know what the warranty is for both products?
We haven't dove into that yet. We'll follow up with that.
But probably either 5 or 10 years.
Okay, John, next slide, please.
Hey, Ian here. I can actually speak to the Halio for a second and connect it. So it connects to a standard power supply. And also it can connect to a wireless network. Michael will show the kind of like wiring schematics for that. But yeah, exactly. So the answer, again, is yes. So there's also different ways to interface with the system, whether that's wireless through the Wi-Fi network and then that interface with an AV system, or directly through the power supply. And I'll actually send in the chat right now a picture of the tint selector, which lets you select what level of tint you have for our glass tint system.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, so building off of what these guys just said, the wiring of these two systems is very simplistic, and that's kind of why it's readily available with office fronts. Both systems use the same 20 gauge, very light gauge wiring. They both have a simple 120 volt hookup to their drivers and cabinets. If you go to the next slide, John. Making it, really easy. It's all AC power. Click, once you get up to the larger, hundreds and hundreds of panels, uses DC power, but also 120 volt. And a lot of these installs don't need an electrician for the glazing. They just hook up to each other. And there's a picture of the actual speaker wire that Ed was mentioning. So, you know, and with both products, you can determine in the shop drawing phase exactly where the pigtails stick out. So, you know, coordination once it's being installed is very easy. As far as thicknesses goes, both glass tint and glass click are 9/16, so that's compatible with our slim, simple, and warehouse. The glass tint plus, I think it's on the next slide, John, if you keep going. No, this is the glass click. But the thickness of the glass tint plus is actually 11/16. So we do finally have an office front system that accommodates up to 3/4 inch. It's about 2 3/4. And I know there's a slide later, so we can quickly show that. But that means that, you know, we can go up to 10 feet. We can do the glass tint plus, which is ultra black and almost fully opaque. So, all right, John.
Next.
Yeah, please. All right, so this slide just shows the liquid crystals and kind of visualizes how it works. When they're in their passive state, they're essentially standing perfectly perpendicular to the face of the glass, and then when they're charged, they scramble, and that's kind of the reason why you get this fully opaque look. And that's also the reason, you know, when they're perpendicular, it's almost totally transparent. And one of the biggest tasks that the R&D team is working on is to keep pushing that and making it even more transparent. Their goal is actually 99% transparent, so they're 2% off. All right. One exciting thing with glass click that we've been testing, John, can you hit the video? For some reason, it's not starting. Is that we can use colored interlayers. I think when this thing, there it is. It's a little jumpy, but kind of similar to our structural products, the structural interlayers. There's a range of colors. Most Vencivas have been tested and are compatible. We're actually, I spoke to the factory maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, and they're ready to run some samples for the colored versions. So I think we're going to start to set up, and John and I have been talking about this a lot, but you know, suitcase ready mock-ups, and we do have one in here, and we wanted to share a video of Ian behind it, but we'll send it to the chat later. But the point is, you know, colored versions are going to be available soon, and hopefully the mock-ups. So next slide, please. Yeah, so we're working on some imagery. Obviously, the installations are low in number, but exterior we do have, and we're going to keep working on either renderings or some photos.
Hey, Michael, I have a question. This is Casey, everyone. So I have a question regarding, we're talking a lot about opacity, which stops a lot of the imagery. Do we have any information on like visible light transmittance, whereas a customer may want light to shine through with no imagery versus a complete blackout situation where they don't see light through?
Yeah, so the visual light transmittance is that 98% number. So obviously Halio is specific to solar heat gain and focuses on exterior. I know that there's data for click, and I'll follow up with that, but the light transmittance for Halo is that 98 and 99.9%.
So the plus, Casey, the plus almost blocks it out. That's what the plus is. It's an extra layer, and that basically allows you to create complete privacy.
Okay, so tint is true opaqueness and blocks visible light transmittance, and then click will determine what type of visible light transmittance diffusion there is. Okay, thank you.
Click is more about privacy because of its light color. You actually do get light shining through.
Right, the click is always going to give you the light, right? So that's always translucent, as you can see on this picture. The tint will give you opacity, but if you want complete opacity, complete privacy, that's what the tint plus is. It's just an extra layer of an interlayer.
Guys, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Do we have the exclusive on this on an interior application?
Yes, we have exclusive on interior application. That's true.
I have a question. Hi, it's Christine. So these are always going to be framed panels, or can they be frameless?
Good question, Christian. Yes, unfortunately, they have to be completely framed panels. Yes,
Great,
for both,
okay.
for both products. Yeah, so there is, with some other competitor products, there is an option of doing butt joints, but it's using film, right? This is an actual liquid crystal, and as mentioned, and then there is a kind of a buzz bar that runs around the perimeter.
Okay.
Unfortunately. So you can install it technically. We can do polished edges, or we can do butt jointed, but you will have a tiny border that's about 3/8 inches, which you would not want to see. Yep. So you can kind of see that, right? Because there is a cable through the perimeter.
It's a stack of laminated glass, and sorry. Stack of laminated glass, and then the wire is accommodated with one of the laminations being slightly shorter. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that.
We have a
So you want to
solution
talk
for
about
doors.
this?
All right. So I mentioned earlier.
Sharon?
I was just wondering if we can use this on doors.
Michael?
Oh, on doors. Yeah, I thought you said outdoors. So we're working on it. Because it has to be hardwired. We can do frame. Well, we anticipate doing frame doors. It's a matter of a lot of our doors just accommodate 1/4 inch. So we're working on the transfer hinges. I think that's going to be something that's very doable soon. We're also looking into our movable walls, because I think that's a huge it's going to be popular with conference rooms and like Gaynor said, adjacent spaces that want to be blocked off but also opened up. So with doors, not yet. I'd say swing doors and framed swing doors soon, but like we mentioned, this needs to be a fully framed product just because of the way the edges are made and how the technology actually is inserted in the laminate of glass.
Yeah, not yet. However, we are working on something really unique. We are trying to develop a mobile board, a completely independent, similar to our current mobile board, basically using this smart technology, so that you almost create like a huge sunglass on a shade basically on wheels that you could position anywhere. So it's something in the works currently.
Yep. All right, so the video that John's been trying to play is just now to illustrate the last video, John. I mean, look, the bottom line for comparing to our competitors, like we said before, is the ultimate kind of ultra transparency. But a lot of competitors also have like a binocular effect or like a wave effect during the transition, and that kind of really distorts what's on the other side and really kind of cheapens the look of the glass. So what we just covered was the 9/16 thickness of these panels for glass tint and glass click, and then this is the profile that we're currently using for up to 3/4 inch glass. So glass tint plus is 11/16. So not quite as minimal as our slim, but 2 3/4, so much thinner and smaller than most of the competitors. And like we said earlier, the tint kind of responds within seconds. So once it has a sensor or a timer, it starts to transition in that 3-minute time. Cover this a little bit, but the basic kind of controls of each are pretty diverse, and we'll continue to show examples and publish details of which systems, and I think we'll get into kind of mock-ups and videos of how these controls work. But the mobile apps are extremely easy to use. The installation actually comes with technical services, so I know that there is a lifetime kind of service package on both products. So if there's ever anything wrong with the technology, there is a lifetime kind of warranty on the service. That means you can always change it, get backups if anything goes out on the electrical side. But Amazon Echo mobile app, it's obviously manually controlled. Sensors, it can
all of that stuff. Yeah. And just again, Mike, it's important to point out. So they have a complete. It's not just a lifetime warranty or service. It's also it's support, right? So they're basically monitoring the system. So every piece of glass is almost like a computer, right? So basically, they anywhere from from their remote location, they can monitor every piece of glass. They can monitor history. They can control it. So they really have access to a lot of data.
This is on the Halio side.
On the Halio side, that's good.
On the tin side, the click side of this is so much simpler. On off, power, no power. Here you have how much power, which windows, etc. So there's a real sort of difference in terms of technology between the Halio and the click side.
Yep.
So there you have it. So any questions immediately? Any more questions immediately?
Yes, John. Where are we looking at as far as cost goes? Do we have any idea what we're looking at cost-wise?
Michael, can you answer that?
Yeah, we're working on that, but roughly we're looking at about sell on the glass tint. You're probably looking at about $100 a square foot, where glass click is about $150 a square foot, and that usually includes transformers and things like that. So it's pretty it's pretty in line with what's out there in terms of the competition, but obviously it depends on the project. We're if it's a one or two piece of glass, we may not be the most competitive, but on the bigger projects, we definitely going to be in line with the
and the electrical. We quoted a couple of these jobs already, and the electronics. The size of the job really impacts somewhat the impact of the electronics.
Yes.
That if you have 6 windows in a row, you really only need 1 electric set. If you have 6 separate windows to 6 separate rooms, now you have 6 separate electronic packages. So there is quite a variance depending on what the application is.
Yeah, and the Halio driver actually accommodates 40 pieces of glass until you need another cabinet.
Right. Okay, there was a question, John. There's a question: when is the official launch date? So I think basically the product is available now. Both products are available in those sizes that we mentioned. As I mentioned, next year we will have larger sizes available in glass click, but we are officially, I believe, launching this next week, Michael, right? On social media, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so I mean, the press release went out today, and then as soon as tomorrow and next week, we're going to start pushing it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a few more steps. Obviously the brochures on the website. The additional training things as well as mock-ups, et cetera. We still have things to catch up to, but we're officially launching this to you today.
Yep.
Michael, is there a video of the mock-up or a picture of the little display that we?
Yeah, John, if you wanna give that to me, I can show the video that we have.
Who did you ask it for?
I think I can request it.
Wait 1 second here. I took a picture of it when I was in the office yesterday.
So I have a video that really shows it well. Let's see.
Okay.
So that's Ian, and you can see how instant the transition is.
The mock-up is actually really nice. I don't know if you have pictures with the case. So it's a nice case on wheels with the handle, and that the mock-up resides inside with the foam, and it's a really solid aluminum profile that's been milled out to receive, and it comes with the 2 little stands, and you just plug it into a regular outlet.
That's a beautiful thing.
Bob Lefferts and I had a remote meeting with the tour of the showroom yesterday, and I took about 20 different little clips of touring the showroom, which we'll share at another point. But this was one of them, which is, this is the mock-up that fits in that rolling case that Edward is referring to, with a little stand on it, and it's just an on-off button on the back. You know, so the what you see there actually is, you know,
John, we're not seeing your
light.
John, we're not seeing your screen.
Hold on. Sorry. Go to meeting. Hold on. One more second. Okay. Good.
Yes.
So that's two clicks of the button. You know, it's instant. And
By the way, you guys are seeing
the lighting that you're seeing here is actually a reflection of the lights that are in the room behind us.
Right, but I also want to mention this particular mock-up uses insulated glass, so that's why you're also seeing green tint. So I think, you know, we will be making it either without the insulated glass, so not to add the extra thickness of glass, or maybe using low iron glass, or maybe even colored glass to make it a little bit more excited.
Michael, did you have another video?
You guys saw the video that I shared, right? With Ian?
You already shared.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Anything else?
All right.
You want to close us out, Edward?
Yeah, I mean, I just basically, you know, really wanted to, again, thanks everybody for hard work you guys are continuing to put in with a lot of opportunities. And, you know, I wanted to introduce the 2 new team members, which I did earlier. And, you know, excited about a lot of these new products. And, you know, I just wanted to share, you know, the Gustavs. I think it just shows, you know, as we launched a lot of these new products, but also you guys are really pounding pavement. I mean, we probably had about 25 already projects, opportunities on Gustavs, and hoping to close a couple of them by next week. So there's a lot of excitement around that, and many of you have been working very hard. We truly appreciate that. And I think we're getting a lot of interest on the new railings, the flush railings, and we should be putting out some budget pricing on that by next week at the latest.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good week.
Take care, guys.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.